Today we're going to talk about we're going to give you a sneak preview of the upcoming version 4 of Sulu, which we mentioned in several parts of today's seminar. We're going to talk about the protocol roadmap for 2022 and of course the application roadmap as well for this year. Just one quick note: whenever you see in the presentation this small light bulb, that's like the most important takeaway from that part of the presentation. So for you to be aware. Just a quick word about myself. My name is Luca Mossini, and probably the most interesting part of my story is that I've been a vault manager on Enzyme for the last 8 months, and I've been very excited to use the platform since last year. And recently, I've joined the Avant-Garde team as a business developer. So I'm looking forward for what's coming for this year. Let's go into the sneak peek for Sulu. Very interesting features coming up, and of course, one of the most important things that we're gonna deploy for this year is the layer 2 Polygon version. You guys have heard about this before. Some of the early testers are already excited about this. I think one of the most important things, obviously, is the cost reduction that this brings about. We can make a quick comparison between like what it costs to create a vault on the Ethereum ecosystem and what it costs to do the same on the Polygon version. You see, like on the one side, $150, and on the other side, like only 15 cents, which is quite ridiculous. So we can actually, confidently say that creating and managing a vault on Polygon is like 1,000 times cheaper than the Ethereum ecosystem. Of course, it's not all like there's also a flip side to this, which is like the asset universe and the number of integrations that we have on currently and in the future for Ethereum is we have like more than 250 assets and more than 20 integrations for Ethereum. And for Polygon, we have like at the time of deployment in a few weeks, we'll have around 50 assets and obviously lesser integrations. So I guess the takeaway from this is that you have to choose as a vault manager your own trade-off between like having like lower cost or like a higher variety when it comes to Ethereum. In this decision, like between cost and variety, you have to take into account one very important feature, which will come up with Sulu. You see that on the left hand here, which is the gas relay, or what I like to call gas relief. Basically, this is a feature that allows vault managers to charge back the gas fees to the vault. So, currently, vault managers have to pay for the gas fees for themselves out of their own pockets through an external MetaMask wallet. In this case, the gas fee will be charged onto the fund, so it'll be a sort of solidarity tax on the whole fund, so there's going to be a WETH position that will be used to actually pay for those gas fees. Another very important feature is the transferable shares, which opens up the possibility for a secondary market for those shares. So be able to transfer from one user to the other. You can also whitelist the secondary users before like these transfers. And tokens, as Mona mentioned in a previous part of the talk, will be usable for like composable strategy into other DeFi protocols. So that's a very cool feature that will be opening up in the next months. And then we have a very requested feature, which is the one asset or like single asset, or we also call it specific asset redemption. Right now, what happens is that when a depositor wants to liquidate their shares, they have to necessarily liquidate that in kind. That means they have to take a fraction of every single position in a given vault. In the future, the vault manager could define which assets that could be used for liquidation or redemptions, and so depositors will have the advantage of being able to withdraw everything in like WETH or USDC, which I see are the most frequent options. We have another interesting feature, which is the possibility to create an account with an email and not just connecting a wallet. And before you guys start making fun of us, like with this type of meme, because this looks a bit like Web2, but let me tell you that this actually creates an interesting value proposition for vault managers, because you get like the latest protocols news, and like all the protocols integration that we that we bring about, all the tokens that we add or we remove, because you also have to be aware of stuff that is deprecated, for example. So all this type of latest information about the protocols at the end of the day for a Vault Manager is alpha, and like asset management is all about creating alpha. So this is going to be very useful for you guys. Also, we have restructured the way we present the information about the vaults. Right now, there's a simple leaderboard. In the future, we're going to use this sort of like Netflix sliders with like top gainers, new vaults, popular vaults, and also largest vaults to sort of aggregate information in a smarter way. And we think this is going to be useful on the one hand for Vault Managers that want to get more visibility in a certain category, but also like investors will be able to find their own, like their perfect match based on their, on their requirement and criteria. So the overarching message from my part of the presentation is that Avantgarde is heavily committed to continuously improve the Enzyme protocol, and we'll be deploying more and more feature. And right now, I leave the floor to the one and only, like our head of product, Ivan Herger, that will talk about protocol and application roadmaps. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Luca. That was really fast and interesting. Let me see how fast I can talk so that we stay in time. So I'm going to talk about two things, basically, or three things. First, I'm going to talk about the protocol roadmap. So I'm going to tell you what's kind of incoming for the protocol. Afterwards, on the application roadmap, and then kind of further outlook. So on the protocol roadmap, where we stand today, we have quite a lot of integrations where you can lend, you can provide liquidity on Uniswap v2. You can stake in certain protocols, many yield protocols, many decentralized exchanges. With Sulu, we're going to release new integrations. So we're going to have Convex. We're going to have Compound, Borrow, Uniswap v3, liquidity providing, Olympus staking, Pool Together, Fuse. They should all be coming in February, if not with the Sulu release, then soon after the Sulu release, because integrations can basically be added at any time, so they don't rely on a new release. Then we kind of on our roadmap for March, we have another few integrations: Aave borrowing, Opin, liquidity, Frax staking, Orion. So a lot of things that are coming. And you see, these are all different integrations. And as of right now, we basically have to do, we're doing work on these integrations. They're important, so that you as a Vault Manager or as an investor can be connected with all those different DeFi protocols. One of the blocking things is basically that we have to do, we have to write code for each integration, and it has to be audited. And as you heard earlier today, audit times are scarce. So we are working now, and we'll see that on the next slide, on basically a generalized adapter, and that will rule all of the integrations. And there's a few advantages to that. Basically, we can integrate any protocol. It will allow us or allow fund managers or integrators to deploy much faster, so we don't have to wait until somebody develops an integration and he goes through audit. But it's basically it can be deployed very fast, which cuts costs enormously for us, but also for third parties. So it will basically be possible for anyone to write or integrate with any other protocol through Enzyme. So Enzyme will expand and improve faster and cheaper. So that's kind of for the exciting things for the more or less short, medium-term protocol roadmap. Then on to the application roadmap. So as you've heard, Sulu will be released soon. And with the Sulu release, the application, the front end, has a lot of new features. So basically, it will have everything that's available today. We're going to have borrow functionality, stake functionality. As Luca mentioned, gas relayer functionality that will be, helpful to share costs, so fund managers don't have to bear all the gas fees for their fund. Single asset redemption, as Luca also mentioned, transferable shares, and notifications, alpha notifications, as we like to call them. You see that, I mean, this is basically what's coming with Sulu, and it's available for everyone. In the kind of after Sulu has been released, we will also release a kind of functionality for funds, more traditional funds and regulated funds. So we'll basically be providing a compliant legal framework for funds to work under. We'll be providing integrations with KYC AML services, fiat on-ramp services, and we'll be integrating with tax reporting services. So all in all, if you're on a fund that needs to be or wants to be regulated, we'll be able to help you quite a lot with all those tasks. So we'll be focusing on regulatory advisory to help funds raise capital in a compliant way from the front end. Another thing that we'll be focusing on is DAOs, as you've been hearing all the time today. So Enzyme is, as you know, all about asset management. And asset management is a big part of managing a DAO, where it's basically treasury management. But there are other parts in DAOs that also need to be managed. And we think Enzyme can play a very important role here as basically the treasury management Lego in this product. We plan to integrate with other functionalities, for example, for accounting and payments, for discussions and voting, and for ultimately for DAO transactions. So that way, Enzyme can be easily kind of integrated into a holistic DAO dashboard. So that's the summary. So we basically will be working on a powerful combination of tooling to help DAOs to help basically DAOs manage everything they need to manage. So this is the, I would say, short-term and medium-term outlook. If we go to a little bit longer-term outlook, we're already speaking about our next release, and we've codenamed it Eve. Eve will provide some additional very interesting and sought-after features that up to now have been proven difficult to handle, but we have ideas and solutions for these difficult tasks, I would say. So one of the first things, or one of the very important things, is the asset universe. So with the Eve release, there will be the possibility to have basically load any asset into a vault. Can be NFTs, pre-ICO tokens, anything basically that is available. That kind of asks, that also needs, in order for that to be feasible, there need to be custom price feeds. So we cannot just rely on Chainlink price feeds as we do now. There will be the ability to basically add custom price feeds on an asset per asset basis, so that this limitless asset universe is actually there and you can still create prices if needed. So that's the kind of longer term overview, sneak peek of what's coming. yeah, to remember, you'll basically be able to add any type of assets and price feeds for those assets. That's the roadmap. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if we have time for questions. I think we might have time for questions for Luca or me.
I think there's 5 minutes left, so there are more questions. There's some questions.
If you do have questions, you can put them into the chat, I guess.
So I see a question in the Ask a Question tab. What is the plan on expanding the asset universe on Ethereum and Polygon?
Well, so we're planning to expand the asset universe both on Ethereum and Polygon. Currently the asset universe is basically limited, assets need to have a Chainlink price feed, basically, or they need to be the price needs to be deductible from a Chainlink price. So we're basically we can add anything that Chainlink that does have a Chainlink price on Ethereum and also on Polygon. With the integration, with new integrations coming, we'll probably be able to add even more assets that can be deducted from Chainlink prices directly. I see some other questions.
I think we have a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few more questions, Ivan, if you want to go through them.
Yeah. So let's start. Which chain is next? We're kind of looking at different L2 solutions, L2 chains. I can't give any details now, basically. The principle is always that Enzyme integrates a lot of protocols, so it makes sense to be where other protocols are. We're not the first mover, so we kind of need to wait until other protocols move somewhere. And what we saw with the Polygon deployment is basically it wasn't difficult, I would say. So it should be more or less, well, it's not straightforward, but it's not too difficult to deploy on any EVM compatible chain. Adding pre-ICO assets in some more detail, I don't think I can go into the details here because frankly, I'm not the right person to answer that question. Sean would be, who is our head of the protocol development, and he's not on the call. Other L2 solution I just discussed, I think. Premium version, how much does it cost? There will be costs associated with it. We don't have a
no, we don't have a
can't
figure
give
now.
you any price at the moment.
Also, it's going to be a very bespoke solution, so it's going to be probably on a case by case.